So I just got my brand new Sur-Ron. Let me do a little unboxing video. This is a pragmatic video for most people, as I don't think they've built hundreds of Sur-Rons in either. You come in this box, you take the straps off. This box just comes right. One of the important things in this box is this small parts box. This small parts box is going to come with your tools to assemble this and get it into running order. Comes with the front wheel zip tie to the side, and the handlebar off, and the throttle off of the handlebar. So these are all things we're going to have to assemble. I'll go through that. What you'll notice about Sur-Rons in the last 3 or 4 years is they all kind of come with like slightly different components. Like these front forks are going to be KKEs. Double check that, yeah. They used to come with the RSTs, but now they've been coming with inverted forks. A big misconception is that Sur-Ron has years like a vehicle with, like a 2022 Tahoe versus a 2021, and that's just not true. What it is it's hard to get these things built, and so they build it with what they have. If they have RST forks, for example, they'll build that run with RST forks. I've seen RST forks come in, then Fast Ace forks come in, then KKEs, then D&Ms, and then back to RST. So that's over the course of about a year. So there you go. It's not like a year thing. The biggest change in the last 3 to 4 years has been the controller it comes with, and it used to come with a square wave controller, and now it comes with a sine wave controller, which is much better. You could read a lot of reviews on it online. It's a little smoother, and it's got more get up and go from my experience. There goes the front wheel. Now this is very important, this part right here. These spacers, you do not want to lose these spacers. The purpose of these spacers are to go on each side of this front wheel, and they can come off easily, so don't lose these. Put these to the side before you start installing. A very, very important part of the bike. This piece of cardboard that covers the back wheel and shipping, and I'll show you its use later on. It's basically going to act as a motorcycle. Right here is the awesome 600-watt charger that comes with your Surron X bike, and from my experience, these come with about 70% charge out of the factory. And yeah, I have 71 here. So to take it up to about 100 from right when you get it, takes about 45 minutes from the bikes that I've built up and charged. Actually, what I'm going to do right now is find my keys. And you want to treat these keys like you would any vehicle. Do not lose them. They are laser cut keys, and they are unique to each bike. So while I'm doing my assembly, since it comes with about 70%, I might as well just start charging the battery, and I'll show you how simple it is to remove the battery. You just turn this key, it opens a latch, battery slides right out, and I'm going to plug this in while we do the rest of the assembly. One thing you want to be careful is, if you're using a box cutter like I am in this scenario, is just be gentle with it, because you don't want to scratch up your brand new bike. Sur-Ron gives you everything you need, all the tools you need, even a little directional guide. Comes with a nice little tool set right here. Now, this piece right here is a piece that I see people not use too much, but I'm actually going to use it. And what this does is it helps prevent battery rattle. 1/8 of an inch thick foam with an adhesive on the back. So I'm actually going to install this before I forget to. As you can see, it fits just square right at the bottom. I see a lot of people miss this step, and it's not so much a make or break for the riding experience, but in my opinion, if they give it to you, you might as well use it. That's going to come zip tied. Sorry, with tie downs. You could remove them. They're actually halfway decent tie down, so you can save them if you ever need it to maybe like mount your Sur-Ron in the back of your truck or something. These can come into play later. So next I'm going to talk about the handlebars. And with the handlebars, what you really want to do is install the throttle on it first before you put it up on the headset. And the reason why is when you're dealing with the cable management, sometimes if you try and put this on and then the throttle, you're going to pull and risk stretching that throttle and maybe even ruining it. For the installation of the handlebars, you'll see there's a centering guideline here, and from there you can see where it's supposed to go on the headset. Now, a good rule of thumb is when you're installing the throttle, just go ahead and look at this side, because you're also going to have to install the brake as well. So the brake goes on first. So remember, install the throttle and the brake before you put the handlebars on the headset. And as I mentioned, a good rule of thumb is match the second grip and the other brake caliper, or the other brake handle, and you'll be able to have a balanced stance on these handlebars. You want to tighten these two evenly. Go back and forth, and you can see it's not completely even, so I'm going to adjust a little bit here, and then I'm going to really tighten down. So these aren't moving all over the place during riding. And now comes the adjustment for throttle. You're going to do the same thing. You're going to get the throttle right up to where the end of the grip is just about touching the handlebar. So you'll see a little space between this section and the section you're tightening into. And another rule of thumb is you can line these up all together. What you really want to do is just get them on, so you can get that front wheel on, so you can get riding. And as you can see, there is no contact when I squeeze the brake with the throttle. There is a small clearance right here, and that's what you want. So it's going to come a little bit tight and tangled, and you can remove these little clips that they give you and kind of get it to how you want your cables. The headlight, you're not going to want in the way, so you're going to want to manage that. Get through and out. Not too hard to struggle with. Now you can get your handlebars on top of the headset. So there's going to be 4 bolts here. You want to take care to make sure that you have all your bolts and the top of the headset. Set them aside, don't lose these. Now this is the part that you really want to get right, is centering these handlebars correctly. And Sur-Ron has a guide right here, which you can follow, and I'll put up a picture of what a proper ending of setting these up look like with the guide and the front handlebar. You want to make sure that this piece of the headset, the Sur-Ron, is upright, not upside down. Go ahead and install the handlebars. You just get these threaded slightly before you do your real adjustment. You can guide these in a little bit. You don't have to go crazy tightening the heck out of them. You can use your fingers to quickly twist them in instead of sitting there trying to thread it on one turn by one turn by one turn. Just initially. Eventually you're going to have to kind of focus on evening out how you're tightening this down, and you'll go in a pattern. You'll go zigzag, zigzag, and as you do that, you want to line up this T right here. There's a cross. You go top, bottom, right to left. Not not necessarily go right to left, you can go left to right, but you want a diagonal pattern so that you make sure that you're tightening this down even. And I'm happy with where my handlebars are. There is some room for play in how you want them. It depends what kind of riding stance you want. So I just got the T right above the little section where it says Sur-Ron. When you're tightening these bolts, just take some care and some time, making sure this is inserted all the way, or else you're going to strip these bolts and they're going to be a headache to deal with. You want to tighten evenly across the board. Looks like we're good. Now this is the hardest part. The hardest part is if you have a buddy with you, family member, whatever, getting this bolt off and getting this axle out of the frame is kind of a pain in the butt. So I don't really recommend you do this, but this is a trick that some pretty good mechanics that Luna taught me. You just kind of take that out like this, and the front comes off. You take your temporary motorcycle jack, which was protecting that back tire this whole time in shipping. Go ahead and lift the bike. And now you got yourself a motorcycle. A quick rule of thumb is, when I'm reinstalling this onto the bike, how easy is it to install? If it's very difficult, I probably have it upside down, because I just discovered it myself. Make sure that washer is in between the bolt. Go ahead and get it a little bit tight on one end. Line up the other side. And you see how the headlight just falls down like that, and that's okay because we don't have it tightened down all the way. So go ahead and give it a little bit of a turn on each side evenly. Again, make sure those washers are right there in between the head of the bolt and the light. Now you can adjust this high, low, actually back and forth a little bit as well. There's a little room for play. I'm going to put mine all the way forward and in the most straightforward position possible. Just see how it comes out. When I ride at night, maybe I'll adjust it, maybe I won't. But I want to just get it hand tight right there. You don't have to go crazy, because if you go crazy you might strip the bolts. So make sure your key's in all the way. Go ahead and tighten it down. So I'm happy with how the headlight's on there. Now, that cool little trick I showed you, well, you still have to get this axle out. And that's where this guy comes into play. You're going to use your number 8. And you're going to remove one side completely because of where the camera is pointed at. I'd rather show you guys on the bike's left side, my right side. I'm going to loosen these pinch bolts because these pinch bolts are what's really holding the axle. What people think is that these hold the axle into place. Well, they do, but they're more for centering the axle. Now, once the axle is centered, these 4 pinch bolts right here are what really keep your bike together. So go ahead and get these guys a little loose. Not necessary to take them all the way off. I advise not to. You don't want to lose these bolts. And the axle should slide out as you grip it with this, because you've removed this bolt from the other side. Again, you've removed this bolt from the other side. It comes right out. Now, on these inverted forks, they move around a lot. They are not broken. Some people think, oh, my bike's broken because look at how this is moving. No, this is how they're made. So you're going to take out this little protector from the brake caliper and toss that to the side. Probably not going to need it again. Now, I mentioned earlier that you want to make sure that you have these spacers and you don't lose them and toss them, because they look like something you can maybe throw away by accident. They're just zip tied to the front wheel. You're going to put one on each side. And a little trick I learned from Kyle over at Lunicycle is you turn this section outwards, make sure the spacers are on, make sure the rotor is going into the caliper side, and it should slide right in like that. Now you can turn this fork back to where it needs to go. If you have somebody to help you on this part, I suggest you get them to help you, because it is kind of a pain in the butt. Okay. So now that we got the axle through, we're going to go ahead and take our 8 Allen key, tighten up each side. Again, this purpose is to center the axle, not so much hold it in place. Those pinch bolts are what's important. So with those pinch bolts loose, you can put that axle back into place. Evenly on each side. Again, the importance of this is that it's centering the axle. It's not holding your axle to the bike. The pinch bolts, once again. I know I'm repeating myself, but I just want to exercise the importance of the pinch bolts on inverted forks. Because some people will just get to this step, tighten the heck out of it, and then think they're done. And that could end up being dangerous. So the way you want to tighten your pinch bolts is evenly. I'm going to go left, right, left, right, in a pattern so that it's quite even. And you want to get these pretty snug. The easiest way to do that is to do it evenly. And it's also the correct way to do it. So make sure that front axle is installed properly, because it's a vital part of the bike when you're riding. Okay, so I'm happy with how tight they are. So a good rule of thumb is you want to look at the other side. How is this peg being mounted onto this bike? And you just want to go ahead and copy it. So there's a few different places you can put your pegs. This one's in the center right now, and I'm just going to go ahead and keep it in the center. Go ahead and utilize the kickstand here. It's already installed from the factory on there. It's going to be easier for me to get to this nut and get it tight and snug so that these pegs are in working order. Good rule of thumb, a really good mechanic Kyle taught me, is whenever you're wrenching on something, you don't want to pull or jerk. You want to use your own body weight for that movement. So just a quick little tip that I throw out there, because whatever he teaches me, it's usually pretty good, and I figured I'd pass it on and pay it forward and show you guys. Now the final part here is just a real simple assembly of the front fender. It's a little bit dummy proof. You have 3 areas that you need to secure onto there, and you have a bolt and a washer for each one. So one thing I just realized is you probably want to use this key, and you're going to want to use this end of it. The rounded edge allows you to grip onto the bolt at awkward angles, as you can see here. Get that nice and snug. And there's going to be 3 of these. So Again, just take some time and care and make sure that everything's facing the right way. As you can see right here, there's a little lip, and where you want this lip is you want it inside the fender side, opposite to the bolt. So hopefully you can see this on the camera, but we're going to go this way, and this is the final one here. Again, so now we actually have our Sur-Ron ready to ride. All right, and this is like one of my favorite parts to show people is how easy it is to take this bike and remove the battery out of it. And what that does is it brings it down to about 90 pounds. And so it's super manageable if you want to load it or unload it. What you always want to do is have the breaker off. Breaker is right here on the inside. Switch it to the left position. Now these come out of the factory governed at, I'd say like less than 30 miles per hour top speed. And Sur-Ron makes it super easy to change that. So I'm going to get a little closer here. And we have our breaker off. We are going to take the only cord that doesn't go into the plug for the BMS, and it loops back around right here. And just give it a clip. And we're going to do a little cable management, kind of get that cord tucked away. If you have your breaker off, you shouldn't be afraid to cut it if that's what you're trying to do. If you want to keep it stock out of the box, that's okay too. Just know you're going to be limited. It's not going to be at its full potential. And to get the battery in is super easy. Slides right in like that. You know, go ahead and get that plug in. Make sure your breaker is off to the left position here. Get this plug nice and snug right there. And this one has a clip, so you want to make sure it's facing the right way. As you can see, the clip is here, and the rest of the plug just goes straight in. You'll hear it click. Go ahead and turn your breaker on. This is my favorite part here. Is you turn the key, lights up, and good to go. So I wanted to show you guys, this comes in kilometers per hour and how I changed it into miles per hour. And all you have to do is cycle the power, turn the key off, hold down on this button, turn the key, hold it down, keep it held, and there you go, miles per hour. And it's that simple. So we got our brand new Sur-Ron X, and that was my quick guide on how to get it together. All in all, to make this video, it took me about an hour. I'm gonna edit it down so it's more manageable for you guys to see. Maybe put some chapters in it so you could just jump around to the easy parts. And yeah, this is my first Sur-Ron, and I'm planning on keeping this one. So, and if you guys want to go riding out there, just leave a comment below.